A very good evening to all of you. On behalf of Business Standard and Kohinoor Business School, I welcome you all for Business Standard Learning CEO Talk titled Impact of COVID-19 on Employability, Opportunities for B Schools. The speaker for the day is none other than Dr. N.K. Kondap. He doesn't need any introduction as most of you know him, but I don't want to miss this opportunity to introduce such a humble person with an extraordinary credentials. Dr. Kondap is currently serving as Director General, Kohinoor Business School. Prior to Kohinoor Business School, he had served as Vice Chancellor and Professor Marketing at NMIMS University. He has also served as President and CE with Core International Institute of Higher Education, UAE, and Director General with Rajasthan Sammelan's Higher Education. He was chairman from 2011 to 2017 of AICTE Western Region and is also on FICCI Higher Education Committee Fellowship. If I have to speak of his achievements, fellowship and awards, I will take another 1 hour and I will be eating time of Dr. Kondap. So I will not speak anything more of him because he himself has told me not to speak more about him being a very humble man. So I now request Dr. Kondap to take over and address the August gathering. A note for all of you. All of you are requested to put all your questions in Q&A box. They will be addressed at the end of the session by us. If you have any questions, you need to be putting in Q&A box only and not in chat box because we'll be only looking at Q&A box. I request all the panelists to be off video mode and keep their laptop on mute mode. Thank you very much, and over to you, Dr. Kondap.
Thank you, sir. Good evening to one and all, and welcome to the interactive session, Impact of COVID-19 on the Employability Opportunity for B Schools, an apt topic during this current situation. We read WhatsApp, we read newspaper, we see television, we see every day. Every moment of time I find that except number of deaths, number of things, and which is more saddening than anything that we're talking about. It is depressing, demotivating, and making us more and more digitally, mentally, and emotionally stressed. Well, I think the time has come for us to get out of this. Time has come for us to move to a different platform to understand what are those opportunities that we're talking about. Just to give an idea that we are looking at is that 1.5 billion primary and secondary tertiary school age students across the globe in a quandary. Nobody knows what's going to happen. And when we look at the Indian scenario, we are talking about the number which is 85 lakhs UG and PG students, 33 lakhs students of graduates from arts, commerce, science and humanities, 16 lakhs engineering and MBA graduates going through a different phases of life, different tensions and stresses. What are these tensions and stresses? Uncertainty, payment of bank loan, education loan, recruiters and students are at limbo, reduction in placement, stoppage of placement, multinational postponing the recruitment. And apart from all these, what's important for us is to understand the digital stress, the stress through which we are all passing through. Teaching at the hybrid mode, it was there, but today we are talking about digital mode of teaching and learning and meeting the challenges, whether it is a student fraternity or whether it is a faculty that I'm talking about. If that be the case, let's see how this is going to help us. Let's see what Winston Churchill has said to us. Well, never let a good crisis to go waste. What an apt statement. It is an opportunity for us to do many things. And I think that's what we are looking at. If this is what is an opportunity, what is that opportunity that we are talking about? The history shows, the geography shows, the record shows that events are categorized by their extreme rarity, extreme impact, and widespread instances. And all these are called title, the names could be different. I'm looking at as black swan events. What are these? Just few examples of latest. Financial crisis of 2008, Zimbabwe hyperinflation 2008, the biggest dot-com bubble of 2001, and most important thing which has disturbed the world economy as well as the human lives is SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome of 2002, H1N1 pandemic influenza of 2008, dot of 2008, and the one that we're talking about is COVID-19 coronavirus 22. And today morning I saw on WhatsApp somebody trying to say that some other disease is going and it has landed in Jaipur. What does it mean? These things are going to happen. These things are going to be there. If these things are going to be there, let's have a look at what we're talking about. All this, my colleagues, have resulted into an opportunity which is important for us to encash, an opportunity for us to move in a different business environments. Suddenly, we are talking about healthy food movement. We are talking about climate movement. We are talking about reuse, reduce, recycle, changing lifestyles, habits, buying decisions, business environment, competition, globalization. Now, all these are result things we are looking at it. That means everything that happens has resulted into some new benefit, new opportunities, and new challenges. What are these? Let's have a look at them. My dear colleagues, it's obvious. Change is inevitable. And when we talk of change is inevitable, we need to talk about one of the important things is VUCA, which is all of us know, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. My dear, I would like to give a simple example that I'm talking about. Probably when you go back to 2019, October, November, business executives, leadership, whether it is a business, academic, or they were all talking about revenues, profit loss, projections for 2021. But suddenly we realize something, volatility. What is that volatility? On 31st December 2019, China confirmed dozens of cases of pneumonia from an unknown cause, very interesting word, unknown cause. And on 7th of January 2020, China announced the outbreak of coronavirus. Now, this has led to volatility, is uncertainty, and uncertainty through which we are now passing for almost 6 months, maybe another 6 months, maybe another year, till we have remedial measures, and that has resulted into what I call the complexity of business. Complexity of business because it is interconnected. Now, whether we talk of manufacturing, whether we talk of supply chain, whether we talk of FMCG, whether we talk of services. And if that is the case, what has happened to us? Ambiguity. There's no clear direction, there is no clear guideline, but ambiguity is there. But it does not mean that we need to walk in ambiguity. We need to chart out our own path. And that's what we're looking at, challenges and opportunities that we get into it. As you move on to your point, you must have realized rapid advances in technology and rapid advances in access to knowledge. All this has resulted, today's corona has resulted with more digitally technological savvy. Probably right from a maid servant to everyone uses a cell phone, buying, purchasing, payments, everything is done through digital. Look at the advances. That is what we call it as technology enabler. And when we talk technology as an enabler, what happens to us? Let's look at it. My dear friends, I call this as crest and trough cycle. Pandemic and recession. Every life has got this, every business has got this, every environment has got this, and the cycle repeats on its own. As we move to the crest, now we are at the trough. And the moment we are at trough position, what is happening is government becomes the provider, government pumps in a lot of money, government comes in with a lot of economy measure, government provides a lot of facilities. I think recent talk by our Prime Minister and the Finance Minister is an indication. That means from trough, we are now moving towards crest. The days are not far off we'll again rise back to what we are looking at, business opportunities, placement opportunities. That means our accelerators to innovation being the direct cause or effect, but definitely we are talking about moving towards in the right direction. Let's look at it. How does it influence us? What are the factors that influence the future of work? Very simple. Technological change that we look at it. And when we look at technological change, customer analytics, big data analytics, predictive analytics we're talking about, or data mining, predictive modeling, you name it, it's there. And most important thing is that we talk Internet of Things. And when you look at Internet of Things, there's going to be the technology that's making a lot of changes. Now, these lot of changes are definitely going to be the facilitators of future business, or present and future business. Therefore, we as business graduates are necessarily need to understand the impact of these technological changes. And apart from that, there is a growing demand for skills. Now, technical knowledge is one, technology is another thing, but having critical soft skills. As I go along, I'll be able to communicate to you what are those critical soft skills that we are looking at it. Let's move on and understand what are those critical soft skills that we are looking at. Well, first I would like to touch upon this factors influencing the future. I just mentioned about volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Now, the most important factor that's influencing is I call it as cultural, socio-cultural factors. My dear colleagues, culture is going to stay. As Peter Drucker has said, importantly, culture, breakfast gets into culture and culture eats into strategy. That means we need to understand that culture is the dominant factor. Only thing that's happening is culture is undergoing a change, what we call it as a subculture, and subculture becomes the culture of tomorrow. The latest example that I can talk about is the Surf advertisement which came recently during Ramadan, a classic example that we are talking about. So we cannot ignore these factors. We cannot ignore these factors. And apart from that, interesting, we are talking about beliefs. What does it mean? We still believe. When the Prime Minister of India announced lighting the candles, Ghanta Nath, these are all beliefs. That means even today we are talking about beliefs and values. And most important thing, recently I read an article in which the President of India asking one of the Indian pundits to have a Sanskrit song in the parliament. Look at it, the faith that they're talking about. These are the factors which are going to be there. These are the factors which are going to be influencing the business. Therefore, we need to talk about it. And when we need to talk about it, the entire concept of family is undergoing a change. The concept of family is now talking about family getting together, but social distancing is going to be the new norm. We as marketing executives, we as MBA graduates, let me talk about it, need to understand that. And simultaneously, there is a demographic shift that is happening. Probably you must be reading every day demographic shift that we're talking about in India, moving from one state to another state, and the mobility is there. And these migrants which are going there, they are also influenced by socio-cultural factors, urbanization, rural impact, impact of all these. And when we talk of all these things, what happens to us? There's a dire need for us to know how the sectors are going to move. We as business executives, we as management graduates need to understand and start looking at it. What are, well, this is an indicative list that I'm trying to communicate to all of you. What is a list? Automobile, aviation, entertainment, real estate, fitness, transportation, travel. And you must have seen slowly and steadily, some of these are coming back. May not be today, maybe a beginning of with 10%, but as we go along, these business, some of these business will come in its own form, or maybe in a modified form, maybe in a redefined form. I'm using the word redefined form because things cannot be the same that we're looking at it. But some of the sectors which still are least affected are Some of these are next: pharma, healthcare, insurance, telecom, edutech, gaming, e-commerce, fintech, logistics, and supply chain management. These are the sectors that are coming. Apart from that, there are other sectoral opportunities which I would like to share it with you as we move along with the discussion and the presentation. Let's move to the next one, please. Worst seems to be getting over slowly but certainly. Deloitte has rightly said, will not put a stop, but will slow down our hiring. Capgemini says organizations will have to prepare themselves for tomorrow. We continue to hire as per the plan and client requirement. Quest Corporation chairman very directly, succinctly said, I can see the bend in the road and bounce back hiring in sectors like financials, healthcare, last mile logistics. All these become going to be a different dimension that we are looking at it. And when you look at all these different dimensions, these things are positive signs. These are indicative signs. And we as Management Institute must prepare our students, and students of business schools must ready to understand the changes that are going to affect. What are these changes that are going to affect? Let's have a look at it. Some, in addition to the existing sectors such as consulting, IT, which will continue, one of the sector which is going to have opportunity is the insurance sector. Actuary, financial analyst, accountant, auditor, insurance underwriter, risk management. This is one sector, probably insurance sector was one which we really never wanted to get into. We thought insurance sector is Life Corporation of India, New India Assurance Company Limited. We were restricting only ourselves to the vehicle insurance or insurance to the personal level. But today you find that insurance has crossed its boundaries. Insurance is going to play a dominant role, especially when we look at the area like actuary, where you need to get into the real estate business, real estate construction, and you need to have the knowledge about it. And what is the next sector that we're looking at? Well, I think it's quite common. I was amazed when I read it in the newspaper that e-commerce sale is projected to 27 trillion by 2021. 2020. But it may get little shifted here, but that's the e-commerce future. If that is the e-commerce future, some of these e-commerce companies which are operating in India, all of you, Amazon, Flipkart, Nykaa, IndiaMart, Snapdeal, Just Dial, and Paytm. All these are there, and many more are going to join. If that be the case, we as business school students, as management institutes, we need to understand the importance and implications. That means our curriculum needs to start changing its path. It's a slow technology as well as what we call is learning system. There are 6 areas in which one can look at it. Am I going to get into B2B? Am I going to get into B2C? Or am I going to get into C2C or C2B? And most importantly, B2 administration and C2 administration. Well, this is where specialization starts. This is where you talk of skill sets. And let's move on to the next one. MSME. I think the government of India, Prime Minister, as well as the Finance Minister have given a lot of benefits in terms of MSME sector. My dear colleagues, MSME is the future. And when we look at MSME as the future, what I call it as, I always talk it. If you want to understand the business, if you want to be the business executive or development executive, and if you want to rise in the corporate ladder, you must dirty your hands. Sorry, I'm using the word dirty your hands because MSME sector provides you to have different skill set. What I call it as you need to understand finance, you need to understand production, you need to understand quality control, you need to all. Because that is where you get the multitasking knowledge, multitasking skill. And when we talk of multitasking, that is where is an opportunity for the future. And this is where the sectorial growth that I'm talking about, well, non-banking, there's nothing much to talk. We are all aware infrastructure finance, housing finance, and microfinance. Next. Well, again, mutual fund advisory, broking, and portfolio management. I would like to touch upon more on HR. The typical HR role is no longer valid and no longer useful. Role of an HR manager cannot be just issuing the appointment letters, payrolls, salary, and all. It's gone. Today we are talking about a new designation that has come in HR is happy manager. What does it mean? Happy manager. It's the role of the HR manager to keep employees happy, to keep employees stress-free. That's important. And when we look at keeping the employees stress-free, you need people management skills. And if you need people management skills, it goes beyond that we're talking about, which I'm coming back in a couple of minutes. Employee retention is going to be the big task because it's no longer that I can ask my employees. Today, employees are looking for career growth. They would like to ensure that they would like to secure. And most important thing is post-corona, new HR and administrative skills, managing the business school, managing the corporate sector, managing anything that we're talking about, whether it is social distancing, whether it is a canteen management, whether it is a recreation, whether it is a conference management, all these skills have to be there. And these are going to be the new skills. And it's for the graduates to understand, grasp, and implement it. If that be the case, let's look at it, what we're talking about. Oh, great, marketing. No longer it is a business development executive. That means a business development executive is as good as a CEO of a company. He needs to take a product management perspective and understand the overall business. He cannot just go and do the job of a marketing. He needs to understand the back end. He needs to understand the front end. Brand management. Yes, my dear students and my colleagues and my dear participants. Brand management is a very important factor that we're looking at. I'll come back if the time permits to talk about how the brand is important. Individual brands and organizational brands. You need to be a CRM. You need to have data analyst. And most important thing, some of them, we talk of media planning and buying, content developer, digital marketing specialist, and product management executive. Next, please. Well, how the future of business is going to be defined. Future of business is going to be defined in a different way. Future of businesses, you must have seen there are 9 blocks. I would like to draw your attention to only a couple of words which are important. What is that we are talking about? Resilience and resilient. That's going to be the future. This is what, apart from the words, the sentences that I have written, resilience and resilient are going to be the 2 important factors that are going to have the future. It's not just that we're talking about. It's the IT is no longer, technology is no longer the future. IT is a normal future world. It's going to be a part of life. If that be the case, what are we talking about? The most important thing is challenges to meaningful change, and most important thing is connecting with changing customer habits. I'm sure all our habits are undergone a change. Just to give an example, the habits that I had way back in my career are no longer the same when I see. Today's generation Z is a different kind of a breed that we're talking about. Lifestyles of generation Z are different. Likes and dislikes are changing. They need right from the breakfast till dinner. If I talk about food habits are undergone a change. Their socializations are undergone a change. Their technological requirements are undergone a change, and everything. And as a future of business, I need to understand how these are there. And most importantly, in all these things, corporates are going to have the faith in their employees. And if they have got a faith in their employees, it is essential that we need to talk about building on the resources for new opportunities. And another word that has taken my concentration and my attention is agility. Agility is going to be the new dimension. If we are looking at agility, let's look at how these things are going to, that is The future of business will revolve on these factors apart from what we are going to talk about it. Next, please. Well, what could be the recruitment trends of the corporates? And when you look at recruitment trends of the corporate, the most important thing that is coming up and probably drawing the topmost attention of the corporate is candidate, whether the candidate's experience aligns with the organizational culture. Organizational culture, my dear students, is very important, and they would like to see how an individual gets adjusted with the culture. If the topmost priority for any individual is get adjusted with the culture, and if you want to bring in the change in the culture, what we call it as a navigation. Adjust, navigate, and bring the change. The change must be acceptable to all, and that's what it's going to be. And if that is what is going to be, what happens to the future? The future is going to be segmenting the candidates. Let's not get into the same feeling that, yes, I get a full-time job. It's a cozy job that I'm there and I would like to continue. It may not be applicable hereafter because corporates are now looking at on a different platform. What are those different platforms that we're talking about? It could be a full-time, it could be a part-time, it could be a contractual, or it could be work from home. Could be anything that we're looking at. That means we should be now prepared to accept the change. An important thing that is happening is the corporates are looking at people analytic from descriptive to diagnostic, and from diagnostic to predictive analysis. They would like to see how candidate perform, how logically perform, how diagnostic tools a candidate uses in the business. Now, all these are done. How they do it? They use it, what I call it as a talent life cycle. And when you look at talent life cycle, it moves from performance to retention, engagement, assessment, work and skill gap, psychometric test, and there are number of tests which are now available with the corporate. And probably they would like to get into this kind of a test, which will help them to understand it. And is no longer is a placement. My dear colleagues, please understand, is no longer the placement. I graduate and I get a job, is no longer that. What is important thing is going to be, the corporate is going to be a strategic recruiter. Therefore, we are now using the word employability. We are not talking about the placement that we're looking at. Employability becomes, and in this employability situation, the corporate becomes a strategic recruiter who carries out SWOT analysis, who carries out benefit cost analysis. And if benefit cost analysis helps me, I'm going ahead in future. Next, if that is the case, how does it move on? Well, this is the most important dimension I thought I must talk to you, because these are the skill set that we need for future. What are the skill sets? I divide them into fundamentals, technological, and other ones. When we look at fundamentals, what are these fundamentals? These fundamentals are industry domain, expertise, and technical expertise. When we look at industry very clearly, whether the candidate has got industry knowledge, whether he knows the industry in which he or she wants to work. Apart from he or she wants to work, whether the candidate has the domain expertise, very important. Domain knowledge is very critical. And apart from domain knowledge of the sector, let's say I'm talking about finance, within finance, I'm looking at banking, within banking, I'm looking at treasury management. If I'm looking at treasury management, do I have the technical expertise in the treasury management? That means, am I technically competent by fundamentally what I call it as conceptual clarity. Conceptual clarity is going to be the buzzword of future. And if unless we have a conceptual clarity, and many of my own experience says in the corporate sector as well, because I worked in the corporate sector for 27 years and probably an equal number of years in academic. One thing which I realized that today corporates are looking at conceptual understanding. That means if my concepts are clear, logical, and reasoning, I can sell a product, I can do anything that I'm looking at. That if I'm a marketing guy. If there is no clarity, if I'm talking about treasury management, if I understand what treasury management is all about, I can do business that way. Now, when we look at technological, well, all of you are aware what we are looking at: knowledge of blockchain, cloud computing, analytical reasoning, artificial intelligence, UX design, and business analytics. Interestingly, I'm sure you must be aware of the fact that today Netflix is using technology to minute detail. They are trying to understand everything. They try to move out. Once you are on Google, if the moment you click once, probably everything starts. They're trying to do it. Same thing is happening with Amazon, is happening with Citibank. And when we talk of Amazon, Citibank, same Nest by Google is uses Nest. Well, Pandora is used by DNA of music. Siri by Apple of iPhone. Tesla by automobile. Cogito by for the study of behavioral version to improve the intelligence of the consumers. So technology also being used extensively in understanding what we are looking at. Now, unless we have the knowledge of this technology, whether it is blockchain, cloud computing, as well as predictive analysis, it's going to be different. UX design, that means I need to know how the designs are there. Today, you must have seen design thinking has become a major aspect of business. So how do I design it? How do I optimize it? That means we are now talking about benefit cost analysis. And when we look at benefit cost analysis, important thing that happens is use of technology, how best I can leverage this. Now, let's move on to the next important dimension. Well, I was under the impression that it's enough if we talk of soft skills, which are basically and primarily we are looking at in terms of communication, interpersonal, business writing, business communication, group discussion. But as I was trying to study, as I was trying to understand it, I realized two important things. That individuals, business school graduates, are now required to go beyond this. What are this? One must have the gratitude, and my colleagues, I'm sure you're all aware, presently there is enough cause for negativity, dejection, and panic. That's what's happening. And when we talk of that, we need to get out of this. We need to start thinking positively. And when we want to think positively, our change of mindset is required. Otherwise, you must have seen, I'm sure you must have realized that the moment you switch on the TV, what is that you hear? Only we see negative news related to corona, news related to floods, but then there's no news which gives me positive and comfort. And business today is looking for employees, business graduates who can turn negativity into positive aspect. Negativity into positive aspect is going to be the critical fundamental factors. And if that is the case, the new that is we are talking about is resilience and grit. Well, interchangeably used, one is associated with the other. And when we talk of resilience and grit, what is happening today? I need to have patience, I need to have perseverance, I need to have a lot of things. Probably we never thought of these terminologies. We thought these terminologies are there in the dictionary and let's use it, appear in the exam and probably write something about these words. But now corporates feel that graduates, employees, irrespective of graduate or not, they must have the resilience and grit. They must be able to work on it. They must try to overcome these situations. Because if we continue to talk about corona, we'll continue to talk about it. I think we need to look at alternative solutions. And if the graduates develop that kind of a skill, empathy and emotional intelligence, commonly, And most important thing is we need to look at creativity. Everybody is talking, Dr. Konda, well, these are all common terminologies that we can look at. I said, no, creativity and persuasion are very important things. I give my own examples in my life. And when I was trying to market, I was looking after the in charge of the ballpen industry. And everybody was talking to me, Dr. Konda, we are trying to come with a ball pen which is transparent in nature, which all of you must be using it right now. Transparent ball pen. People ask me, how do you market? Because we have got other ball pen manufacturers who market the ball pen at 50 paisa and you want to market the ball pen with 5 rupees. No one will buy. I said, you need to come out with creative ideas, creative communication strategy, and creative benefits, my dear colleagues. And what is that we did? Well, we developed a complete campaign. We developed complete campaign which revolve around transparency. That means you can see through. We developed about a concept saying that we position this product is a technological product, saying that the ball pen, this ball pen rides 1500 meters. That's what it is. And suddenly we found that from 5,000 ball pens a day, we started and we moved on to produce and develop and deliver 25,000 ball pens a day. What does it mean? Creativity, persuasion, and communication are important. And the important thing is you need the ability to work, and adaptability and teamwork is important. And when we look at demand for emotional and social skills, and when we look at demand for emotional and social, my dear colleagues, there's a need to look at it. And when we look at this, this was I can only tell you this I had predicted long back. When I wanted to have the predicted, I can only tell you, my dear colleagues, way back in 1985, 1992, nobody talked about social marketing. We decided at going Narsimhanji, NMIMS University, let's talk of social marketing. And you may not believe, we started addressing the issues which are related to HIV, AIDS, which are related to a lot of things related to community development. And that led to what we call is CSR, corporate social responsibility. And when we talk of this, we need to develop. And today, corporate social responsibility moved on to what I call it as institutional social responsibility. And from institutional social responsibility, my friend, the kind of things that are happening today in the world, the kind of things that are happening across, whether it is corona, whether it is floods, whether it is drought, everything that we are talking about, we need to talk what we call it as daitwa, social obligations towards community development. My dear colleagues, my dear students, my dear participants, let's start developing these kind of emotional and social skills, because there is a need for us to connect with them. And you can connect with them only if you have got emotional and social skills. Next. Well, I think these are all common words: openness, transparency, trust, loyalty. I just talked about patience and perseverance. Most important thing, I would like to come back to two things. One, I call it as risk management and risk mitigation. Today, the corporates are looking at the executives who are ready to take risks. And not only they are ready to take a risk, but they are able to meet the risk issues and risk challenges. That means they are ready to mitigate. Today, there's no point in going a 9 to 5. What we are looking at is someone who can take a calculated risk, someone who can work on that, and someone who can mitigate the risk. And when we talk of this kind of a risk, what is going to happen? The future is connect, collaborate, and communicate. My dear colleagues, it's very essential that we need to talk about connect. Let's connect with, let's collaborate, and let's communicate. Unless we collaborate and communicate and connect, it's not going to happen. The days are over where I talk about compartmentalization. Probably the department that we're talking about, sales, marketing, finance, probably in the future they may not exist. I'm talking about you. In next 2 or 3 years time, I can assure you that except that the Executives will have the fundamental knowledge, but what is going to happen is the business companies are going to look at whether the executive is prepared to do multitasking. If he's a guy from finance, he should be able to work on inspection. If he's a guy is working for inspection, it does not mean that he needs to have those skills, but definitely he must be ready to work with the team members in the other department. And this is what is going to be the future. The one thing which has happened recently in some of the US universities, that all the faculty in engineering, civil was sitting together, management was sitting together, production was sitting together, finance was sitting together. What happened? It has only brought silos. Now, when these kind of silos are coming together, it becomes difficult. Now, what is the new philosophy? Well, if you have got one marketing guy, next to you will be one production fellow, and next to the production fellow will be no longer it could be from someone from accounts, or maybe someone from testing, maybe someone from economics, because they would like to work as a team. They would like to have cross-cultural understanding. This is what I'm talking about. And of course, retain brand identity of self and organization. My dear friends, you must have seen number of brands have come and gone in the last 60, 70 years. But brands like Tata's, Birla's, Godrej will continue. Why? These brands have what they call, they've got their own quality, they've got their own value, they've got their own purpose, they've got their own life. These are the issues that are going to come. Next, please. Just under 5 minutes, then we can close and have about 10 minutes question answer. Do not fall victim to the panic button. Do not get panic. I think we get suddenly excited. What do we do? And probably that's more predominant in many cases. And digital stress. I understand today we are going through digital stress. Let's not get worried about digital stress. Let digital stress get diluted. And once the digital stress get diluted, probably you'll find a lot of things will change in a different way. What is that we need to focus on? We need to focus on virtual meetings. We need to focus on team meeting. We need to focus on one-to-one. And most important thing is learn the technical knowledge, skill, attitude, and behavior. Let's be prepared for hybrid teaching and learning. Let's understand the future is different. If the future is different, let's be prepared for future tomorrow. Next, please. Well, the last slide, my dear colleagues. We are human beings. Let me tell you, we talk of technology, we talk of issues, we talk of challenges. But what is important for us is, in this era of technology, now one thing which will continue to remain, and that continue to remain, what I call it as, let's maintain touch with social distancing. And the last point is, let me add only one point, which is we are talking about with all these. Today you must have seen environmental challenges are coming in a big way. Legal laws are getting reformed every now and then. Political situations are changing day and day out, different politics. Now all these things are going to be there. That means these are going to be embedded in our culture. But what is important thing is, let's not adopt them, let us understand them. And once we understand them, probably we'll be in a better position to manage them, because ultimately what matters is our own business, what matters is the organizational business, what matters is the personal growth. Personal growth and abilities are very important for us. My dear colleagues, just let me come one last sentence. Though I talked about a lot, but please remember, apart from technological skills, fundamental skills, develop crucial skills, because crucial skills are the future. And it's essential that we develop these crucial skills, because these crucial skills are going to play a major role in the years to come. And let's collectively work, let's collectively fight, whether this corona that we are talking about or any challenge that comes with you. Let's work together to transcend horizon and to ensure that we move to a different path and to make India as one of the global players, not only in the corporate world, maybe in every field that we're talking about. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kunal. Requesting Himal sir to remove the screen. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, sir. It was a very enlightening session. Okay, and you rightly explained the students, the opportunities for B school students, what they are and what they should be looking in future. So now we'll take your question and answers.
Yeah.
So we'll just go to the Q&A box and take the questions. The first question is, why does startup pays more than well-established companies to freshers?
Sorry, can you repeat?
The question is, why does startup companies pay more than well-established companies to freshers?
Okay. Is there any other question on startup so that I can combine it, or I can answer this?
There is another question. Will startup continue to pay more than big companies, as many big companies have been given circulation that they are going to hire less this year?
Well, I think let me answer as far as the startups are concerned. It depends upon the nature of the product. Honestly, it depends upon whether I start as a startup company, as an ancillary company to a corporate. Like if you go to Bhilai Steel Plant. In Bhilai Steel Plant, in and around there are a number of startup companies. And these startup companies have a permanent association with Bhilai Steel Plant, and they make the products and services. Secondly, the startup companies pay more for the simple reason they may not be able to attract functional specializations. A small company cannot have an HR manager, a finance manager, and they cannot have a quality control manager. Maybe they would like to do at a lower level. Obviously, they would like, that is what I was trying to convey in the beginning, that if at all any graduate want to develop the skills, the best skill one can understand and learn is through startup, because it becomes multitasking. That is where they would like to pay little more than what we talk about it. And this principle is called pay for 2, get the work for 3. That's a simple philosophy.
Yes, sir. There is one more question, and the question is about internet connectivity. Will that be a major problem in villages, and how e-classes will be possible?
Well, I think government is seized of the situation. Probably, as I said, government never realized, probably no one realized the impact of Corona, and for that matter, anything that's going to happen. So there was the focus on internet connectivity, especially maybe in the semi-urban and rural area was not much. But now this is going to happen. Not only that, you must have seen, government has also announced a new policy where the classes can be conducted through Doordarshan. That's a new thing. The classes, and then probably we can start using cell phone for more of teaching and learning. I need not use my laptop. So that's going to be the future. This is what I'm trying to convey, that new learning is different. Technology is going to be enabler, and it could be technology that internet, the media could be a TV, it could be the government, it could be the private, could be AICT, could be UGC, could be anybody, or even it could be a private player like Jio. So well, these are teething problems. Probably no one realized the impact of it. In our own case, we never thought that we need to move on towards online teaching and learning and evaluation. And in 3 months' time, every institute now has acquired those skills.
Okay, sir. Next question is, sir, is this the right time to do MBA?
Sorry?
The question is this the right time to do MBA?
Of course, of course. In fact, I would say this is the time where you develop new skills. Because on one side you realize that there are no job opportunities. I'm using the word, sorry, those job opportunities may not be the way you expect. And the best thing for me is develop additional knowledge, skill and attitude by joining an MBA. And more so, as the business schools are changing their approach, they will try to incorporate, they will try to integrate lot of things in that place. In fact, it's the right time to do MBA.
Yes, sir. There is a question on socio-cultural ethos. It says, since socio-cultural ethos are deeply embedded in religion, how come change in need will shape the socio-cultural values and belief systems of the present youth to mold industries?
Well, see, these socio-cultural factors, as you rightly said, are embedded in our own traditional. And these are passed on from one generation to another generation. What has happened is suddenly the impact of westernized culture has come in. Now, I'm not getting into whether the westernized culture is right or wrong, no question. But certainly westernized culture has also added new dimension, new learnings to us. So there's nothing called one culture is right, one culture is wrong. These are cultural changes that are going to happen. And today's youth, if you ask me, with due respect to all, I respect them. Because today's youth is much more knowledgeable, today's youth is much more respectful, and today's youth knows what to do in future. And these are the great learnings of today's youth. And this I'm not talking just because I'm talking to all of you. I'm talking about based on my own experience of 47 years. Because even today, I'm teaching the students who are in Gen Z. So what is required is understanding youth, cultural and social behavior. And probably if required, tone them.
The next one is perhaps from the students only. They want to understand how you'll maintain the attendance if the classes are virtual.
Good question. Well, I honestly, there are soft skills, there is softwares available like ERP, which is going to maintain the attendance of the students. To me, my dear colleague, whosoever has asked, is attendance important or is learning important? Focus on learning rather than attendance. I may attend the class physically, but I may not be there mentally. What is important thing is learn it. Because with the new system that we are talking about, LMS and ERP, well, on every material is available to you on web. Everything is available on the website of the institute. Today, Harvard Business School material is available. I can read it. But what I'm going to miss it is the interaction that I'm going to have with my faculty colleagues, who is going to give me first-hand information, knowledge.
Yes, sir. There's a question on whether marketing or finance, which sector is good for both money as well as job satisfaction, and will COVID affect and change what used to happen earlier?
Well, honestly, whether it is marketing or finance is left to the individual skills and likes. It doesn't matter much because opportunities are there in marketing. Opportunities are also equal opportunities there in finance, because today finance sector needs finance graduates much more than what we were looking at it. But then these finance graduates need the new technology, the knowledge, new updated knowledge. Similarly, when we look at marketing or sales, now is no longer the traditional sales and marketing that we have been reading in the books is applicable. To today's youth must know CRM very clearly. He must be a business development executive. Unless these skills come in, irrespective whether, not only that, I'm talking of, it could be marketing, it could be finance, or even it could be HR and operations. Today, if you are, the future is also going to be supply chain and logistics management. Is going to come in a big way because the productions are being streamlined, supply chain is going to be extended, and most important thing that's going to happen with the government policy is direct marketing. That means from the farm to the market. That means middlemen will go away. If middlemen are going to go away, how the farmers are going to market their produce, how they're going to package it, how they're going to distribute it, and how they're going to get the revenue. So, doesn't matter which sector you are in.
Next question is, how can one equip himself to become a business analyst?
Sorry, business
Analyst.
analytics.
Business analyst.
Well, it is like developing the business analysis calls for general management skills. So therefore, you need to have a general management skills which encompasses marketing, finance, HR, supply chain, overall business. And this you can get it once you get into the corporate sector and join an organization. As I said, you must move what I call it as rotational. I'm using the word rotational internship. Like, I'll just give my own example. When I started, probably everyone, basically, I worked in maintenance. I worked on the shop floor. I worked in the construction. I worked in supply chain. I also worked in quality control. And what happened? This has given me an opportunity to develop business analysis, where I can talk about entire business proposals, project proposals. What is important thing is your initiative and ability to get into it, and your desire to learn it, I can say.
Yes, sir. I think the number of questions are above 60 now.
Yeah,
So I'll just pick one.
Stick to one or two. You can take what my request is. Let's have those questions. We can reply them.
Okay, sir. Okay. So there's one question which is on digital stress. So how much technology is good technology?
Well, any technology is good technology as long as it is not eating into your health. That's important. What is happening is, I just studied recently an article which talks about, my dear colleagues, before Corona, and we were spending maybe about 6 hours a day on cell phone. Post Corona, we are spending 9 hours on cell phone. Massive. Now, what has happened is this kind of a addiction. I'm sorry for you. Pardon me for using this word. This kind of a thing. What has happened? It has affected my personal life at home. I have become maybe bad boy in the house because I'm not able to communicate with my family. I'm not 24/7. I sleep with cell phone in my bedroom near my pillow. At night I open, and honestly, my dear colleagues, there is nothing so important that which makes you to see. What is important for us is how can I control the use of digital technology? Digital technology must be used in the right quantity. I'm using the word right quantity, right quality, and right measure. So please do not get into digital stress. My simple request to all those who are present today, please do not get into it. Do not allow your family life, your personal life, your life with your colleagues to be spoiled by digital stress. Because digital stress, once gets into it, starts affecting your health. Maybe last question when we close it. Hello?
Yeah, you can ask, sir.
Yeah. Hello?
Are customers interested in top of funnel content but do not have buying power right now? We might see an increase in traffic for top of funnel content without a corresponding increase in mid and bottom funnel conversations. Your reaction, sir?
See, no, I think this is where when we talk of today, we are passing, it's a similar situation that's like supply chain. Today, there are no funds available, but it does not mean the entire thing. Government of India is trying to talk about the same policy with credit system. Maybe the companies are evolving a policy wherein companies get the credit, and part of the credit that means one can pass on to the consumer. But let me tell you, what is important thing is, at the end of the day, as the economy revives, and I'm sure economy is going to revive in couple of months' time, it is the confidence, it is the trust, and it is the ability with which I repay back the loan. The most important thing is I must not default, because the moment I default, things are going to be different. Look at a simple case, then I close it. Now, Government of India, the RBI has given the guidelines that when we have taken the loan from the banking, they have delayed the installment deferment. Fine, we should honor that installment deferment, but we cannot use this installment deferment to our advantage. We should not misuse it. That is important.
So there is one question. What change in education sector and big universities will go through, and how the aspect of such as fees, teaching methodology, and the way students are accessed will be changed?
Well, good question. Well, I can only tell you the future of education and more so higher education is undergoing change and will undergo change. Couple of things are going to happen. The first thing that's going to be, it's all going to be hybrid teaching and learning, number one. Number two, LMS, ERP are going to be the tools that are going to be used extensively, intensively. Entire teaching and learning plan will be communicated. Okay. Evaluation pattern will be online. Learning plan will be online. Most important thing that will happen is maybe Zoom or any other technology will be used as a mode of learning. And this is going to happen. And the role of a teacher will undergo change. Probably the teacher may not be able to spend so much time on teaching and learning because of online maybe availability. The role of a teacher now is going to be role of a mentor. That means teacher will become a mentor to the student, wherein a student can interact with the teacher, understand the requirements, and get the guidance. And if you ask me, this is the biggest opportunity that we got it. And as I said in my presentation, the future is going to revolve on this developing crucial skills of a graduate, whether it is an undergraduate or postgraduate or an MBA graduate. These skills are going to matter much to us. This is the change, and education is going to go in a big way for transformation. And this transformation is good for the country, good for the students. And most important thing is it will minimize the hassles that we are looking at. Probably it's going to be virtual teaching and learning and with less human touch that we're talking about.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want more questions, or we should stop here, sir?
I think we should stop because there are 77 questions still pending.
Yeah. So I would request all the people who have asked the question, we'll answer your questions back to you.
Definitely.
We'll give the questions to Kondap sir, and they'll answer you back, and they'll be replied to you. So there are no worries. And most of the questions are generic in nature. I was going through the questions, so in fact, you don't have to worry about getting jobs and something like that, because definitely jobs will be there, opportunities are there, and you're going to get good jobs. So don't worry about it. Since employability is totally skill based, developing skills is crucial. So
Yes.
you should not waste time and develop skills. Even if classes are not there, there are so many courses on Coursera and all this kinds of Udemy and all. So enjoy those courses and do some additional things as you go by. Okay, now since we are closing this session, I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Kondap sir for coming here on the web and giving this beautiful topic on impact of COVID-19 on employability, opportunities for B schools, and he explained it extremely well, how you can develop your skills and how there are job opportunities for you, and there is no need to worry or fear. So it was a very interesting session for students, I believe, and we can take home from here that we don't have to worry, most importantly, because many
Yes,
students.
absolutely, sir. You know, my dear students and faculty colleagues, don't worry. Future is definitely bright. As mentioned by my colleague, develop the skills, harness the skills. Three areas, I just repeat and close. One related to the fundamentals, second related to the technological, and third related to crucial, I'm using the word crucial and not soft skills. Crucial includes soft skills. And if you can develop these skills, you don't have to worry, because this, as I said, from trough, we are now moving to the crest. And as we move to the crest, future is bright for India. Future is bright in every employment sector. Only thing is, it has taken a setback and we'll move forward.
Yeah, so I thank Dr. Kondap, and I also thank Kohinoor Business School and all the people in Kohinoor Business School who helped us to organize this seminar for you all. I believe that you have enjoyed it, and all the best and God bless. Take care and enjoy yourself. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.